Okay, Shannon, you can put us back on.
Okay.
Okay, we are back on the record. Go ahead, Ms. O'Brien.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. I did have an opportunity to discuss the court's proposition regarding a potential resolution here, and she reluctantly is willing to agree to that, to no overnights, provided that counseling is ordered and that the children are ordered to attend counseling, that Mr. Marsh is ordered to attend as recommended by the counselor. I think that Dr. Lauder at the healing place would be a great place for him to go. She's has plenty of experience in this area, and what we would recommend in terms of specific parenting time would be after school or after Miss Marsh gets out of work. A lot of times she picks them up after she gets out of work on Fridays until 9 p.m. and then 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday on her weekends. And maybe we could set this on for a review after they get some counseling, or we can let the counselor acclimate them into overnights through counseling. We don't care how that happens, Your Honor, just so long as it happens.
So I guess my initial reaction is to go immediately to a full day every day, even though there isn't any overnight, when the girls have been reluctant to go, is probably going to be a stretch. And the other thing I just wanted to talk about in general was the possibility of some one-on-one parenting time rather than mom trying to parent all three at the same time. I know we raised 5 kids, and I know how much my kids appreciated one-on-one time when they got it, on the rare occasions that they got it. When you're talking about rebuilding a relationship or building a relationship or just really having quality time, sometimes that can be pretty challenging when you got a bunch of kids you're trying to work with. And I gotta believe to some extent the resistance of the younger ones is probably fueled in large part from the older ones. So if you've got a teenager there that really is experiencing, maybe to a great extent, the kind of conflicts that older teens sometimes have with parents, that probably isn't going to be really good and have a good influence on the younger ones. So I guess before I actually order something that's doomed to failure, and I'm not saying it is or isn't, it's just I tend to favor a go slow approach if what we're dealing with is resistance from the kids, regardless of what is behind the resistance. And your client believes it's dad trying to spoil a relationship. Dad says, no, it's not. It's the kids. So regardless of what's behind it, do we fix it by simply mandating that they spend all day Saturday and all day Sunday with their mother? So I throw that out because I want to have some dialogue about it. In terms, I really think a go slow approach is likely to provide a better opportunity for healing than what you're proposing. Anyway, let me at least hear from Mr. Hotchkiss before I say more.
Your Honor, I did communicate with my client, And he told me that he felt that the girls would probably adjust better and it would be easier for them if they stuck with the Wednesday midweek visit and then every other Sunday from like 8 a.m. until 6 p.m. At least to start until they can get through counseling or develop a better relationship with mom. I do agree with the court as far as I think if you throw the kids in there, like has been suggested, I think that's more of a recipe to make things worse as opposed to better. I do like the court's thought with respect to one-on-one time. I totally agree that sometimes children have influence over younger siblings. I think that would be a good opportunity for both whichever child was with mom and mom to work on their individual relationships. So I do like that approach as well.
So, Mr. Marsh, I muted you when we were waiting for them to come back. Do you, if we were to use an approach as was just suggested for Sunday, every other Sundays, but maybe use Saturday for some one-on-one time between mom and whichever of the girls are willing to do one-on-one time. So let me ask you, do you think your girls would be willing to do one-on-one time, or is there comfort in numbers? What's your sense?
Well, I think what you're saying, so you're right. I think the older, probably a little more of influence on the younger. And I even agree with the same approach. Even in my parenting, I tend to get better results with all 5 children one-on-one. So yeah, I think that more of a one-on-one versus 3-on-1 against mom. So one-on-one might be a little, balance it out a little bit so mom can have a little more time to maybe talk, get a little more out of them, interact a little bit better. I actually like that idea. A one-on-one alternating would be good, but they're limited. It just seems truly like the more time, the more they get fueled up and upset. And I think that until the counseling or healing or whatever can happen in these relationships happens, I think that yes, some individual time would help. And I think that they would be willing to do that, but on a limited basis. I think the feedback I get from the kids, it seems like the more time that they are there, especially over the long weekends for them, they're just more fueled up. They're more upset. They're more whatever. I do feel that, yeah, the individual one-on-one has always been effective for me as a parent. I think it would be just as effective for mom as well.
So, Ms. O'Brien, I mean, ultimately, I'm going to order something today. And this is what makes most sense to me, is to take a go slow approach. To go from 3 hours or whatever it is on Wednesdays to spending all day Saturday and all day Sunday at mom's, I think is probably going to backfire, and we don't want it to backfire. We want it to work. So the all day Sunday thing, alternating Sundays with all 3 of them, I think that's good. But let's use Saturday for mom to exercise some one-on-one time. Take whatever moms and daughters do for fun, go out to eat, spend some time together. Individually, would you like a chance to discuss that with your client, just to see if? Well, let me ask her, Ms. Marsh. What do you think of that?
About going out to eat with them or spending one-on-one with them. So how would, with 3 children, how would that?
Well, what I was going to suggest is we do with all three girls on the alternating Sundays during the day. But then on the Saturday, you and frankly, that be reserved, that Saturdays be reserved for one-on-one time. And how you spend that time is up to you. I would just challenge you to be creative. Ask your daughter, what would you like to do? Let's plan something fun. Get your nails done or whatever. I think that can help, and it gets rid of that dynamic of, kids following the lead of their older sister, and seems to be the older ones that are creating more of the distance. If you have a time to build with one-on-one, I just think that has the potential to really help. I definitely want counseling to take place, absolutely, as directed by the counselor. So the counselor involves each parent and each child as the counselor deems appropriate. And I trust the counselor to know at what point to involve the children and to what extent to involve them. And whether that's one at a time or all three at once, I'm assuming she's going to want to spend some time privately with each of them, but I just leave that up to the counselor. And as the counselor directs, I expect the children to follow along.
Okay. That sounds fine with me.
So let's try this. The midweek continues as is, alternating Sundays from whatever the time frame was, 9 to 6, I think was what was suggested.
Yeah.
8 to 6, Your Honor. My client agreed 8 to 6.
8 to 6, and then on Saturdays we arrange separate one-on-one time between mom and one of the girls. And how you do that? I mean, are you guys? I mean, is there some level of communication? So, Mr. Marsh, I know you're going to be talking to the girls about here's what we're going to do. Which one wants to go first? And then figure out a way to plan that time. I mean, is that something we can at least leave to the parties and the children to figure out who on which Saturday and how much time they're going to spend?
Honestly, at my end, yes. I feel as though Charmaine and I do communicate and can communicate still at this point. I am willing and I can communicate with her. I don't have a problem at my end. If she does not, that can be arranged between us. I'm willing to do that. Yes.
Your Honor.
And before you speak, I intend this to be temporary. If it's not working, either one of you can renotice this for hearing and get back in front of me, and I will intervene if something more needs to be done. I think it's better if it can be worked out. So there's sort of a cooperative approach going forward. But if that doesn't work, I'm always willing to wade back in and say, hey, all right, this is what it's going to be.
I think it sounds like a good idea, Your Honor. I just was going to interject in terms of, I thought I heard, and I apologize, I don't know if it was you or Mr. Marsh that said, letting the girls determine the time length. I would ask the court, this is what I would like to see happen, is the court, that we have a decisive time, and that the girls don't get to pick the hours. Now, I do think that the government input as to who's going to go, I think that's excellent. Give them some sort of input into this. But if none of them choose to go, or if they can't decide amongst the three of them who's going to go, then my client will pick who goes and then alternate it. During the week, we would ask for a little, I would like to see a little more time on Sunday, because it's going to be all three of them. Maybe if we could get it past dinner so they could have a Sunday dinner together, maybe like 8 to 8. That way they can have time to have a Sunday dinner together and then go back as a family. I didn't hear any recommendations as to the time on Saturday. I would ask for something like a 9 to 9. Saturday, it's not a school day. I said 8 on Sundays because of school. That way they're home at a decent time to be able to, get to bed for school on Monday. But if maybe the court would consider a 9 to 9 on Saturday, or even an 8 to 9, with the one child with the one-on-one, and then there was nothing said about Fridays. So are we going to not do anything on Fridays? Because generally your parenting time should have started on Friday.
My goal would be to get to the point where it's we don't have any of this going on, but
Right.
I want to take it slowly, and if it's working, and the girls are adjusting and adapting, there's no reason that once the hurdles have been removed, that they wouldn't be there for the time that's currently ordered.
Correct.
That would be the goal. This is a gradual, this is a stopgap. And, I don't know if having starting out at 9 to 9 on a Saturday for someone who currently doesn't have a strong, strong relationship with mom is a good idea. I mean, it'd be great to get to that point. And I do understand your point about putting the girls in the driver's seat. I really don't want to do that. I want them to want to do this, though. So there's a fine line in here in working from having them doing something they want to do versus putting them in the driver's seat. I get that concern. So let's leave it to Mr. and Mrs. Marsh in their communications to figure out, okay, who's it going to be and how long is it going to be? And maybe the first time mom spends one-on-one time, it's not 9 to 9. Maybe it's dinner and a movie, or maybe it's lunch and nails, or whatever. Gradually, that's my approach. It's hard to put that in an order, but I think you both hear me. I mean, my goal is to get the girls in a better place with their mom. I think that's what mom wants. I believe that's what dad wants. And I think that's what needs to happen. They need to be in a better place. And getting the counselor involved, I guarantee you Shannon Lauder is going to have a lot more to say and better ideas about how to do this than I will. I'm advocating for some flexibility on this Saturday time that's one-on-one, and just a mandate. It's going to be this to this, and mom gets to pick which girl it's going to be with. My guess is there's a bigger battle. Well, battle's not the right word. There's a greater challenge in the repair with the older ones than there's going to be in the repair with the younger ones. Yeah, and I'm assuming the girls have other things going on in their lives, so sometimes that might dictate, she's got gymnastics this Saturday, or she's got cheerleading or whatever. I don't know if kids are doing anything these days with COVID, but I think it calls for flexibility. And dad needs to be strongly encouraging each of his girls to go and to make the best of this and to work hard. That ideally the best thing for them is to be on good terms with their mother, whatever it takes to get there. And if everybody has that as the objective, I'd like to make the Saturday thing flexible and leave that to the parents to try to figure that out. Hopefully we can begin to start down this path of healing and having a normal parent-child relationship. That would be my goal.
I think that sounds excellent, Your Honor. What I meant by the mom being able to pick is if none of them. So she doesn't really have to pick. It has to be somebody. It can't be none of us. None of us is not an acceptable answer. That's all I'm saying.
No, and I agree with that. I think absolutely. But who it is and when and which Saturday, let's be flexible there.
Absolutely.
And mom, let's do some fun stuff. Let's do some fun stuff with them. I threw out a couple of things, but I was better at figuring out fun stuff to do with my boys than I was with my girls. We didn't go and get nails, I guarantee you that.
Aw.
So who wants to take a stab at drafting an order reflecting what I've stated this morning?
I will, Your Honor. I'll send it over to you,
Okay.
Ken, for your approval.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I have just a quick clarification, please?
Of course.
When we're talking about the Saturdays, are we talking about alternate Saturdays?
I think it should be every Saturday.
Every Saturday.
Every
Okay.
Saturday with one girl, time with one girl.
Okay, and then my second point of clarification is I understand that mom has enrolled or signed up at a healing place. I don't know if Dr. Lauder is going to actually be her therapist or if it will be one of the other therapists there. Are we going to direct that Dr. Lauder can assign the children to whatever therapist and then mom have a different therapist or whatever and leave that in Dr. Lauder's discretion? Is that the intent?
Exactly. I mean, she may do it herself. She may figure out she's got somebody else that's better, or she may just not have time. Yeah. So the order can say a healing place.
That's what I was going to
to
just put in there, a healing place, because I know that Dr. Lauder's got certain counselors that cover. I know she's got her staff is broken down into specialties. So I think Dr. Lauder is going to be best suited to determine which counselor is going to be the best fit for each person. I agree.
Okay, we all set?
We are. Thank you very much, Your
So
Honor.
you know what? So on the Saturdays, I'll just put for the times to be as mutually agreed upon.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good.
And again, the idea is be flexible and take whatever time is necessary to build that time up. I want it to be enough time so it's meaningful.
Right.
Whether it's all day or not initially, I don't want to put the kid in the driver's seat. On the other hand, I want mom to be sensitive that if it's not going well or there's a lot of tension, say, hey, I don't want to force this. Let's call a timeout here and let's try again on another day.
How about instead of not setting the times, but how about if we put a minimum, say a minimum of 4 hours?
Yeah, and I think
I
the
think-
more rule oriented this becomes, the
I'm just
less
afraid
it,
of, I'm sorry,
the
Ken.
less that the parents are working together, and I think that I just don't think that it's as wise to go that route as it is to have the parents work together and give some flexibility based upon what's occurring. You say it has to be a minimum of 4 hours, and then they're going to have 3.5 hours, and then I feel like I got to exercise the whole 4 hours. I mean, I just don't see that as being as wise as the other route.
Well, and I don't necessarily want it to end at 4 hours if
Right.
they're really having a good time.
But that's why I was
fine.
Just
suggesting a
communicate.
minimum. Because what I don't want to
Well-
see happen is the girl say, okay, I'll come and see you, but I'm only for an hour. Because it's really not giving them enough time.
Ms. O'Brien, this is intended to be temporary and for it to heal and for it to grow.
Okay,
And if things are going south after an hour at the first visit, the best thing mom could do is say, hey, I don't want to push this. I don't want to force you to have fun with me. I want you to have fun with me. This isn't going well today. I'll take you back home. Let's try again another day.
okay,
And just be flexible. That's all. I think that's
Okay.
what's going to work best. We want them
All
to
right.
want to be there. Okay. All right.
Sounds
good,
Good
Your
luck, parents. I hope this really can begin a path towards some real healing here. That would be my goal for everyone. So I wish you well.
Yes,
thank you,
you.
Your Honor.
Is
I'll get
there-
that order drafted.
Is there
Thank you,
any way that it can be stipulated that Jason has to communicate with me? Because I have had communication problems with him in the past.
Yes, I want you to communicate freely and openly, but it can't be argumentative stuff. It can't be name calling. It's got to be positive.
I'm talking about him not responding to my text messages, because sometimes when I go pick up the children, I will ask him where they're at. They're not where they're supposed to be for pickup. And I will ask where they were at and I get no response. I think I have the right to know where my children are at for my pickup time. I will be,
I think
will
there's,
ignore me.
I think each of you need to respond to the other's text messages, but work really hard to make the communications respectful.
I agree.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you,
luck.
Your Honor. Have a good weekend.
Okay, let's see. So let's see. Can you also have Levitsky versus Gallant?
Yes, Your Honor.
And I've got, let me, do we need to do anything on the record today?
On that case,
Yes.
not that I'm aware of, we have mediation set for next week.
Oh, okay. Well, hold on. Let me take us off the record then.